Continuing here now on the WHS 1119, part 2 of our focus investigation into the death of Christopher McKinney, killed when a bouncer punched him in the head January of 2020 at the Nowhere Bar in the Highlands of Louisville. To find out more about the investigation and the decision not to file charges, Shane McAllister sat down with Commonwealth's attorney Tom Wine.
Why not let a grand jury hear this case?
Because I believe I have an ethical obligation to present evidence to a grand jury where I have a reasonable expectation that we're going to be able to convict.
Wine pointed to obstacles in the way of charges, including the bouncer's intent when he hit Christopher.
Well, the expectation is that this individual is going to wake up.
The statute on self-defense.
The statute is clear that a person can respond with physical force if somebody is pushing them, if somebody is rearing back to hit them, if somebody threatens to hit them. The other person can respond with physical force, and that's what the bouncer did in this case. He punched.
And a lack of physical evidence, including a report from a pathologist who called the death a freak accident.
The pathologist who reviewed it said, I can't explain how this happened.
And then there was something else. Search warrants that were never executed by LMPD, including surveillance video and a toxicology sample from the bouncer.
And where is the accountability there for there not being that blood sample taken and for there not being those videos collected?
Well, that quite respectfully is a question for the police department. I'm not trying to dump on anybody, but if you have a warrant and you don't exercise that warrant properly, then that's evidence I don't have. If the evidence is missing, we're screwed.
We asked LMPD about the breakdown of evidence collection. They responded with a statement which reads in part, LMPD's homicide unit took all essential and relevant measures to provide a comprehensive and accurate depiction of the events to have occurred. Nick Clark worries the prosecutors and police never took the case seriously, never pushed for proof of wrongdoing. Tom Wine says that proof doesn't exist.
It's a tragedy, but it wasn't one that you could anticipate, and it wasn't one, even if we had all the evidence, that I believe we could overcome the legal impediments that we had in this case.
Even then, he agrees this case can and should be a lesson, applauding Clark's push for new laws to prevent it from ever happening again.
Right now, there are no training standards, there are no hiring standards for someone to get a job as a bouncer. It's really important that any employee who can use force on people is trained to do it safely.
The proposed legislation would enforce regulations that both bouncers and bars would have to follow, including a standardized hiring process and de-escalation training that would highlight what most medical professionals already know, and that's just how deadly one punch can be. They're calling it Christopher's Law.
Being real extra today.
Nothing like this should ever happen to another human being ever again.
And Representative Lisa Wilner says she will be proposing the legislation during this upcoming session. There are also Metro Council members working on similar regulations on a local level right now.